Since October of 2019, Canadians have paid a tax on carbon emission-producing fuels such as gas, diesel, and propane. Every province except Quebec has a carbon tax system, and Quebec uses a cap-and-trade system. The way this tax works, consumers see a slight price increase at the pump and on energy bills. These consumers include everything from individual people to large corporations. For gas, this has meant a 17-cent increase since 2019. This money collected is then paid back to individual Canadians in the form of rebate payments. Rebate checks change in size depending on the province you live in, Alberta residents receiving nearly double what the rest get, and rural Canadians receiving an additional 20%. So the idea is the companies and people who emit the most carbon are charged, and that money is redistributed back to individual Canadians regardless of their carbon emissions. Hundreds of economists, climatologists, and other scientists have agreed that the carbon tax system has had a positive effect on emissions levels in Canada, and that without any action, climate disasters will hit the Canadian economy very hard in coming decades. However, many Canadians aren't convinced that the carbon tax is the best way to go. In recent polls, less than 20% of Canadians want the planned carbon tax increases that will happen for the next 5 years to go through. And only another 30% of Canadians want the tax to exist at all. We've come to this rest stop, just north of Lacombe, Alberta, to talk with this group of folks who have been camping here for over 50 days now in protest of the carbon tax. They've brought back the 1980s slogan that opponents of GST used to use, "Axe the tax." And the rest stop is on the side of the QE2 highway between Edmonton and Calgary, which is used by thousands of people every day. The protesters have been here through numerous heavy rainfalls in the past month, and we'll ask them what brought them here and how they're holding up. I'm here today with
Amelia.
What brings you here today?
Trying to bring people together.
So this protest here has been going for over 50 days now, eh?
Yes.
A lot of heavy rainfall in the last 50 days.
Oh, yes.
So how's that been?
Hasn't been bad. We've prepared for it. We got our snow gear. We've got rain. We've got kind of everything ready to go.
Fair enough. Most people showing through polls around Canada are generally speaking against the increases on this carbon tax coming up in the next few years. But you guys seem to have taken a lot more action than most people. Is there anything you feel in particular, an event or something that happened in the last 6 months that you felt put you over the edge and decided you got to come out here?
When they put the carbon tax in.
Yeah.
Because it's getting hard to feed families and pay bills. And there's people that are debating, do I pay my heat, electricity, or do I feed my kids?
Fair enough. And so in your ideal world, what would happen?
Well, I understand Alberta cannot drop the carbon tax, but they need to drop something to make it more affordable.
Fair enough. And you don't think the rebate checks and everything kind of balance it at all?
Well, if you take what you spend in a month and you calculate it, it's nowhere near what they give back.
Fair enough. And so do you have a message to Justin Trudeau, for example?
My message wouldn't be nice to Justin Trudeau.
Fair enough. And as for the whole idea of the carbon tax, if the government, the federal government, was to do something else instead of the carbon tax to help the climate issue or whatever, what do you think they should be doing?
Give us some cuts somewhere else. Give us a break somewhere else. Whether it be, like dropping some more of the fuel tax or just dropping some other things. Because what they don't realize, the carbon tax makes everything go up. It's not just, a lot of people think it's just 3 cents at the pump, but it's not. You're getting trucks that are delivering, so their fuel's gone up, so their prices have to go up, and it's getting ridiculous.
I'm here today with
Christopher.
What brings you here today, Christopher?
I've been rallying for 4 years. This new tax. I mean, tax and more tax. People can't afford these taxes. I mean, they're supposed to get rid of the GST in the 90s, and that never happened. But, this is ridiculous.
And how long have you been hanging out here?
I just got to the Lacombe camp here about a couple of days ago. I was down at Cochrane for 3 weeks in April.
So there's another camp kind of like this down by Cochrane?
Yep. And I think there's a third one somewhere else as well, in Alberta as well.
Would you say the one in Cochrane is larger or smaller than this camp here?
Well, it originated at Cochrane, and it was huge the first couple of weeks there. There was, I think, estimates were like 500 to 1,000 people, what I was told, occupied both sides of the highway at the rest stops at Cochrane. Then it dissipated over the weeks. I think now the Lacombe is a little bit bigger. But the weather hasn't been that great. We were here in Alberta back in April where, it dipped down with the wind chill. It felt like minus 15, so it was cold. And that detracts people from wanting to come out.
So a lot of people around the country, even a majority, one might say, are against this tax. But
where are they? Why aren't they out here? You can't leave somebody else to do it. If everybody stood up for a week, this would be quashed immediately. But people are lazy. Canadians are lazy. You see what's going on in Europe and France and Germany. They stand up and they fight back. Alberta has it better than some of the other provinces. At least you stand up here. And this ongoing rally since April. One lady I spoke with in Cochrane, she's been there like 55 days. Like this determination. This tax needs to go.
And so,
all the way from BC because this whole, serious. Enough is enough. I'm homeless, first of all, because of the COVID scamdemic, but, this is just another tax scam. And, Trudeau needs to go and the tax needs to go. And any future government coming into power, don't think that you're going to implement more taxes. We need to start cutting back taxes and giving the money back to Canadians.
So would you say, I was going to ask, because it seems like you've taken a lot more action than most people regarding this tax. Yep. What would you say was the event or large thing that got you politically charged?
COVID scam. Yep. Yeah, COVID scam and the push for the vaccines. Dividing Canadians. If you want to take it, take the jab. But, don't impose that everybody has to take it. Or especially, I never wore a mask. So constantly harassed, kicked out of several shops, refused service at Cobb's Bread because I refused to wear a mask. So it started really with the COVID. And, you do what's right to protect yourself. But don't, I have a right to what I want to put on my face. I can't breathe properly, and I refuse to wear a mask because it doesn't work. It's been proven not to work. But anyway, your initial question, yes, it was the COVID that got me started politically. I was not political before. I'd never even been to a rally before. And I think in the past 4 years now, I must have been at least 200 rallies.
200? Yeah. And you said you started in BC?
Yeah, BC, yeah.
Where in BC, may I ask?
North Vancouver.
North Vancouver.
You know me well there.
Last question for you. I asked everybody else here the same question. If the federal government was to get rid of the carbon tax tomorrow and do something else to try to affect the climate, what do you think they should do?
That's if you believe that's a problem with the climate. I'm 51 years old. The climate is not changing. The climate is always changing, but it's not man-made. This is just another scam to get people more fear-mongering, just like they did with the COVID, the fear-mongering, the daily cases of, COVID cases and nonsense. I follow the statistics daily in BC, and it's a fraud.
I'm here today with
Eric.
And what brings you here today, Eric?
Tax the tax protest.
And what does that mean to you?
That's the carbon tax need to stop.
So how long have you been here at the camp?
It's 51 days now.
51 days?
Yeah.
A lot of heavy rain in the last 51 days, eh?
Yeah.
So has it been difficult keeping supplied up and everything here?
No, a lot of people stop and help with donation and support and everything.
I see. And what would you say would be the absolute ideal situation? What do you guys want to accomplish here?
We want to stop the carbon tax because that's don't need to be on. That's a creepy thing. Put all the people, all the population on the bad ways. It's hard for everyone now.
Fair enough.
It's not the way to help the economic situation.
And if there is something that the government should be doing to fix the climate situation, what do you think they should do instead?
The climate situation? No, I don't believe in this. Sorry. No.
You can safely say there's a lot of people across Canada that are against this tax, but you definitely have taken a lot more action, one could say, than most have by coming out here for the last 50 days. Is there anything particular, some particular event or anything that you think made you decide, you know what, I got to come out here?
Just stop the Hoekstra tax.
So we talked to a handful of people here, and it looks like they'll still be here for quite a while, especially since the carbon tax is probably not going away anytime soon. And we learned that there is, in fact, also an encampment down in Cochrane, just west of Calgary, Alberta, but that it's apparently shrinking in size as we speak, which has brought some of its patrons up to this camp here. You can hear the honking from the traffic in support of this camp. And yeah, we'll see how long this thing lasts. This has been Clint Hoekstra reporting on scene for the Keep Times with Brooke Richard behind the camera.